I just tell people you have to think positive because we all got the yin and the yang, but think positive and harp on the positive things. Think about that cup being half full, as opposed to being half empty, because it all starts with the mindset. It all starts with the mindset of an individual coming home and their confidence level. No matter what they got, no matter what they're going through, how am I going to get in society and be productive and be healthy and not go to jail no more? That's the goal.
Welcome to this next episode of Just Healing. I'm so excited about this episode. I am doing my happy dance. I have met this person and he is just a joy and a light, and his smile just lights up a room, but he is talking about a topic that most of us don't even think about exist. And so I am going to introduce you to the man, Terrall Tillman, and I want him to tell you what he does and who he is. You are in for a treat.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Terrall E. Tillman, and I'm from South Central Los Angeles. I'm the founder and executive director of Lessonz Learned, which is a nonprofit, and also I have an LLC as well. So I do a lot of consulting. My background is pretty much I've done like almost 20 years incarcerated, a year and a half as a juvenile, 19 years in the feds as an adult. My passion is reentry and educating the society, and not only the reentry people, but also the service providers that will be providing the service for reentry people. So reentry is near and dear to me. I live it every day. I breathe it. I'm elevating and evolving it so the information can be current, so the people that's in this field of reentry, those coming home, and also those who are providing the service can have a more update and insight to how we can help people coming home and how the services can be provided in a better way. I'm an author of a book, Formula for Success Reentry-030. I'm certified as the PCI-TI. I'm also FEMA certified. I'm also an anger management instructor. I'm also a certified competent communicator through Toastmasters International. I'm also a certified creative writer through Mount Marty University. So I have a lot of things to reveal to you today. First time talking about some of these things. So you're going to be the first to hear right here.
Well, and you know what? Let's talk about what reentry is, because you wrote a book about it, and I want you to define what is reentry so people really get it, because most people do not understand it.
Yes. Well, reentry is this. Reentry is coming back home from society, whether you did a day, whether you did 40 years, coming back into society and understanding that whatever you did in the past, it's your past and doesn't define you. But at the same time, you got to start now in the present and utilize the good things that you did in the past, whether it was in prison, whether it was on the streets, to come out here and understand that it's a whole new day. There's resources out here and how to actually get yourself ingratiated back into society in a healthy manner. And that's why I teach reentry education, because it's very important for people to understand how to navigate in reentry. It's not just coming home, getting a job, getting an ID. It's more to it than that. And it's a lot of different components that a lot of people don't even think about. So that's why I wrote the book, and that's why I continue to educate people about reentry, because it's not just getting an apartment, getting a car, because that's basically still being institutionalized. Reingratiating yourself back into society is being a fabric of society, being a fabric of your family and community, getting back involved in things that's going to help you excel in life and also bring that family unification or whoever your support system is. But understanding the task that you have in front of you and also doing it. Because I have a lot of brothers and sisters, they come home, they've been in prison, they've been bettering themselves, they've been getting their education right, they get degrees and all that. That's fine and dandy. But when you come home, when you're released from prison, that's when reentry starts in the free world. And it's totally different than just building yourself up in prison where you have everything that's set in place every time. Because like I tell people, Here out here in society, it's a lot of disrespect. It's a lot of people that don't have structure and a lot of people that are not building on themselves in a healthy way. So coming home from prison, we have to be aware of these people and these factors that's going to try to attach themselves to us, so to speak, and give us what they feel that we should know. So reentry is about a person coming home, getting the resources they need, and thriving in a positive and healthy manner.
So would you say there's layers to reentry, right?
Oh yeah, there's multiple layers because, coming home, first you got to get your ID, your social, and your birth certificate if you've been away from society more than 7 years, because after 7 years, they wipe you out of the system. It's a lot of different steps that you have to go through that can be very irritating and, create barriers for somebody who's been in jail 10, 20 years and doesn't have technology or doesn't have access to, transportation, things of that nature. So it's a lot of layers to reentry, a whole lot of layers. And that's why people need to be educated on how to actually help somebody without continuing to enable them, and how them to build a little self independence up in the process as well.
Yeah. And, I work inside of prisons, all the time. And then I work with family, right? But you wouldn't believe, even people who work there who believe, well, let them out. They got to solve the problem, right?
Yes.
They don't do anything for the setup because they don't realize, and you can probably speak more to this than I can, right? But they don't realize if someone who's been in there for 10, 20 years or whatever, the world is not the same when they come out. And like you said, they've been wiped from the system, but you have what time you go to bed plan, you have your food plan, you know what you're going to wear plan. Like, some people, cell phones weren't even created when they went in there, right?
Yes.
And so what is that like? Because I don't think people get that word institutionalization. They don't get what that means and what that means to somebody coming out.
And it's basically falling out of touch with time and technology. Technology advances, and if you're in prison and not on the phone, or even if you got a phone in there, it's still not being able to utilize it to know everything about technology and how everything is working. To set up an email, just to do some simple things, to go searching on Google. It can be a task for somebody who hasn't learned that and built that skill set up. It's a lot of different components that factor in. And when you're in prison, like you say, a year goes by, things change. 5 years go by, change. 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and it's a whole new world. Like you come into a whole new earth. And regardless if you have a support system, the individual has to soak in being free and all of the temptations and the choices that they have now. And that can be very overwhelming for some people when you're used to getting everything handed to you and handpicked for you. Everything is structured. Now coming to the street, everything is on you. The onus is on you, the accountability, responsibility to go get your money, to get a job, all of that stuff, to have the communication skills to allow somebody to be your support system. And I tell people, when you come home from prison, don't nobody owe you jack, because their life has been continuing to go on. And when you're coming home, they're doing you a favor, whether they're stopping to do what they do to take you over here, whether they're giving you some money, whether they give you some clothes, whether they give you some food, or even some information. Whatever somebody giving you when you come home, it's a plus. Nobody owes you shit. Excuse my language. Nobody owes you anything, because you went to jail. Their life didn't stop. Yours stopped, but it didn't stop. It just kept on in prison. But now when people come home, it's like, hey, people got bills out here. People got relationships. People got children. And life is life. And so to accept somebody coming home from prison, it's like you have to be a humble person to understand that this person is helping you and taking time out their day and their schedule or whatever it is to help you try to get yourself together. So verbally saying thank you, I appreciate you, good looking out, is the best thing to do. Communicate with your support system that you appreciate their help, because it ain't nothing worse than somebody being honorary and feeling like they're entitled for somebody's time or money or efforts, and you don't say thank you. It's not appreciated.
Yeah. And then people get bitter. And do you think that causes some of the recidivism, people going back in there?
Yeah, because the way you communicate is how you're going to be received by your support system. Right. And that's how you're going to be treated. If you have some better compassion and empathy for people that are helping you, it goes a long way. It's a lot better, because people appreciate being appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm doing something for you, spending my time, my dollar, my gas to help you out, and you're not appreciating it, that's like a slap in my face, you know?
Right.
And then if you running away your support system, or you don't have a support system and don't know how to galvanize one, you're going to end up going back, resorting to the things that you did in the past, because it's going to be too hard to do things out here the right way when you don't have resources or support system to help you get past these barriers and challenges that await everybody that comes home from prison.
Who should be on your support system?
It all depends on the individual, because some people stay in touch with people while they're in prison. Some people build up their support system, and some people just do their time and, you know, they deal with it how they do. But coming home, your support system is supposed to be somebody that's going to hold you accountable, somebody that's going to keep it real with you and tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear, somebody that's going to be very honest with you and open with you, and somebody that has your best interests, but is not going to allow you to just bully them into doing whatever you want them to do, but to make it straight and put it in a way that's meaningful and respectable and understanding. Because support system is supposed to be able to support you and help you, but not continue to make you codependent like being in prison does. A support system is a system that's going to help this person reintegrate themselves into society in a healthy manner. And some people that don't have a support system, guess what? They got to build that up by going to different groups, going to different organizations, going to different places in the community that support reentry people. And once you dig into society in different places, you'll find people out here that's really in tune and want to help you, because there's so much help out here and resources for reentry people now. Just you have to have discernment, because everybody's not going to have your best interest. But there are so many people out here that do it and do it unapologetically and from their heart.
What are some of those resources?
First and foremost, I would say Lessonz Learned. Off the rip, I would say Friends Outside, WCAC, ARC, Mass Liberation. I would say Long Beach. Long Beach has a reentry program, the April Parker Foundation, PCITI, the best training and reentry training and community violence interruption group training that's presently going on right now. So these are places that can help people and sustain people to get themselves back on point. TDD, supportive living services. We know we have to meet people where they are, but at the same time, you got to give your best effort and put your best foot forward in order to represent people, because representation is very vital now in today's society, where we brand our market and our name and our business. So we want to make sure that when we do that, it's people that really get it and have a better understanding. If they don't, we got to educate them to have that understanding.
What are the top things we can do to assist somebody with reentry?
The first thing I would say is to hear them out, see where they're coming from, see what their needs are, because there's no cookie cutter to this, and everybody's situation is different, so hearing them out, understanding what their needs are, what their plans and goals are, and basically pointing them in the right direction, helping them build their confidence up, reassuring and encouraging positive actions and behavior, and, turning them on to the right information and the right resources that's going to help them thrive.
And what should we not do?
We shouldn't be judgmental. We shouldn't definitely put anybody down. And the worst thing is to try to control somebody, because we just left prison, or we was in there and we had so many people telling us no's and telling us what to do. We don't need another warden. We don't need another boss. We want to have a sense of freedom and a sense of help. If you're telling me something, let it be coming from a good place. Have the understanding and the empathy for that person and give them some grace. But don't be judgmental of people, of what people don't know and don't know how to do. Because people coming home from prison, they're like adult infants getting back into the world. And some might think, oh, I know this and I know that. But lo and behold, it's not the same when you was in prison reading it on the phone or reading it on the news, as opposed to getting out here and living it and doing it. It's a different ball game.
And one of the things that I've noticed is that if they go in at 17, their whole mindset is 17 when they're coming out at 34,
Yes.
right? It hasn't grown. It hasn't been raised because they don't have the same experiences.
The experiences in the free world stop when you leave the free world. Your life doesn't stop. Your living experience doesn't stop. Your learning doesn't stop. But where you're learning things from does change, because now you go to prison, you have to adapt to prison society or jail society. It is nothing like society in the street, nothing like society in the free world. So now you're in a box. And whatever prison you go to, you got to learn to adapt to that education and how that living situation is in there. And it's different in every institution. And if you're in feds or you're in a place where you're traveling to different institutions, you might know the circumstance, but every institution changes. Every situation changes. You have to make the adjustment. So coming home to the free world, it's a whole new ball game, because this is not structured for you. You have to structure everything for yourself. You have to be self-controlled and self-disciplined, and to know what you need to do, put your priorities straight. But how do you put these things in line, and how do you align them to get them done? It's like dipping your toe in the water to see how the temperature is. Coming home after doing 11 years from being 18, my mind was still on young things in certain areas, and then my mind was on older things in other areas. So I wanted to still be around young people, but I wanted to also be an adult and be responsible. So it's a difference when you go to jail as a child and come as an adult, because you didn't grow up in the free world as an adult. You grew up in prison, as an adult, and it's a different lifestyle. It's a different lifestyle, and people have to get adjusted to that. And sometimes people just can't adjust, and they say, you know what, this is too hard out here in the free world. I'm gonna go where I'm comfortable, because they didn't been there probably the majority of their life, and that's where they got their skill set from, and that's where they comfortable at. It's imperative that we catch people coming home, wrap our arms around them, and educate them and let them know you can't do this. You can't do this. It's just going to take a little effort, because when you went to prison, all that stuff was new. The first time you walked through them prison doors, all that stuff was new. People laced your boots. People gave you the insight and the information that you needed to survive and to thrive, but you had to learn that stuff. Coming home from prison, it's like I said, an adult infant relearning everything over and implementing some positive things and breaking those negative cycles and those the structure from prison. So you have to be understanding of the environment that you're in and how to move, and be safe.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I know about you is, like, when I met you, I'm like, oh, he talks to people a lot. He's chipper. But what I realize is that you're not just talking. You're learning something from each person you talk to.
Yes.
And you're taking a piece of who they are, right? You're trying to learn who they are so that you can connect with them, which is really, really important, because most people who live with incarceration, they do not know how to connect with people.
You have to be assertive about what you want in life, especially coming home as a reentry person. When you do that, it shows the other person that you're invested in your life, you're serious, and you're consistent.
You made things simple. You wrote a book. Tell us a little bit about your book that you wrote, because there isn't another reentry book. I know this. So tell us about it.
Well, this book right here, Formula for Success, is a book that I wrote. The intention was to educate people who are incarcerated, but then also educate people that would never come to jail, so they could have some understanding of how to help. When I wrote the book, I just thought about all the categories and components that we deal with coming home. And then also some out-of-the-box topics as well, like, love triangles, things of that nature that people don't even think about, while they're in prison or come home. When I wrote the book, I was like, this is going to be something that everybody can relate to, because I read some of the prison books and reentry books when I was in prison, but they were so outdated. They didn't apply to me. No shade to the people that wrote them. They did their best at that time. But 1983 don't equate to 2006, 2024. It doesn't. So it just inspired me to do something that was more invigorating and more educational, but I wanted to write it in a simple form. If you could read Cat in the Hat and understand it, you can read my book and understand it. I wrote it in stanzas. I broke everything down. Instead of having a big block, now you got little stanzas. It was really inviting to read, and I made the fonts bigger so you don't strain your eyes. And I made it big to where you could write in it. So it's not like just a little book. It's like a workbook type stuff. And then every chapter in my book has the educational part and it has the lived experience part. This book will help anybody in the field of reentry, whether you're a service provider or somebody coming home, or just somebody want to know some information. And it's a self-help book, so you don't even have to be dealing with reentry people. This book can actually help you get through a lot of things that you're going through in life, regardless if you've been a reentry person or not.
Absolutely. And it is written from the perspective of this is what you can do. So I think it's very, very supportive in that way. So you have all these things going on in your life. What is next for you in your career, in your life? I mean, you have so much.
Well, I'm just fulfilling the purposes that the Creator has sent out here for me. The book was one thing. Now putting it out there and pretty much getting into the criminal law students that need it and study reentry. I want to put a book in every institution or jail before I leave this planet. I want to have a book in their library so that I can know that my information is inside that jail or that prison for people to see and read. Right now, I'm embarking on reentry staff training to give staff better understanding of how to do their job and be more successful and get the best desired positive results that the program was set up for in the first place. I'm also bringing out the Tillman ripple effect concept, and that's the whole concept of when a person goes to jail, the whole family is affected. When the person goes to jail, while they're in jail, and when they come home, how does the programs that they're in help them and their family? So that family reunification piece and the way service providers treat not only the individual, but how they treat their family and helping the family reunification is something that I'm pushing as well. These are the things that are important. So I just tell people you have to think positive, because we all got the yin and the yang, but think positive and harp on the positive things. Think about that cup being half full, as opposed to being half empty, because it all starts with the mindset. It all starts with the mindset of an individual coming home and their confidence level. How confident are in them and themselves that they're going to get out here and make this stuff work, no matter what they got, no matter what they're going through. How am I going to get in society and be productive and be healthy and not go to jail no more? That's the goal.
That's powerful. What do you want to leave us with, Terrall?
Well, I want to leave everybody here with the fact that this is what it is. People are coming home from prison. Society has changed. No one in society pretty much doesn't know somebody who's been in prison or incarcerated or something like that. So my thing is have grace for people coming home from prison, have some empathy for them. Just embrace them and understand that they've been through some things that you probably couldn't even fathom in your life. And they're out here trying to do the best they can and navigate the best they can. And you will feel the energy of people who are seriously, genuinely trying to change. You'll see the effort, but you got to give them a little sometimes and giving people grace, because, people expect you to know certain things because you're a certain age. But when you've been secluded and you don't know, you don't know. And the hardest thing for people as human race, change, ask for help, and public speak. So when you got people coming home, we might put our pride to the side, the ego to the side, but it's still hard to ask for help, especially from somebody that's a stranger.
Yeah.
Also, so just feeling the love, people helping, that's the best thing we could do for people coming home from prison. Have that empathy for them and give them some grace.
And that's beautiful. And how do people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on every platform. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, also on TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn as well. And also I have a website, lessonslearned.com and reentry-030.com. So you can contact me at those, and I'll be more than happy to help anybody coming home from prison, or even help staff, people who are actually service providers, because that's where it starts. The service providers set the tone for people coming home to help them want to continue to do this, as opposed to making a barrier and scaring people off.
Well, that's powerful. And I think people have learned a lot. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you for all of my morning messages that I get that
You're
say,
welcome.
God
You're
bless
welcome.
you, you're
Yeah,
fabulous. All
yeah,
these things. I
yeah.
just adore them and I love them, and I don't get a chance to heart them all the time. But no, I'm looking
Okay,
for them
okay, it's
every
okay.
single morning because I just think that is the coolest thing that you can do for someone to start
The
their day.
littlest things could make a world of difference in somebody's
Yeah.
life. It's nothing wrong with sharing and just caring, and just showing people you're not alone. You're not by yourself. That's the biggest thing. You're not by yourself.
You're not by yourself.
Yes.
And thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Just Healing.
Thank you for having me. Thank the creator for giving us a space, and I appreciate you. Always love.